Good evening, everyone. How wonderful to see such a full room of people interested in this amazing man and amazing topic. My name is Elaine Smokler, and it's my honor and privilege and my great pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce you to Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche, one of the most influential and acknowledged Tibetan Buddhist scholars in China today. And here at Boise, and in fact in Toronto for his very first visit. It was my very great privilege and amazing experience to be at Khenpo's talk last week at York University, which was entitled How Meditation Can Help Us Find Comfort and Ease in the Nature of Mind. And I have to say, what brings me here tonight to you was that exceptional experience, profound, unexpected, wonderful. In a world of confusion, artifice, Hollywoodism, and frequently degradation, to know immediately, without a doubt, what the genuine article looked like. Not just looked like, felt like. He and I do not even speak the same language, and yet we do. From the moment I heard him speak, I realized how incredibly privileged and fortunate I was to have the opportunity to be in the presence of somebody who's not pretending to be anything. He is, as far as I could tell, a person who embodies 100% the teachings in such a practical, evidence-based, and extremely humorous manner. The talk tonight is called The Mystery of Past Lives. So what is the importance of this topic to us? You may or may not believe in reincarnation. You may or may not believe that there is a future life waiting for you. But the notion of reincarnation is actually something that's happening for us every moment of this life. Every moment we have the opportunity to examine our minds, see what seeds we're planting, know deeply, if we can, what it is that we're creating for our future lives and which past lives in this life we're drawing from. I'm excited, based on what I heard at York last week, I'm excited to hear the unique way that Khenpo will weave scientific research into this talk, as I understand that that's how he teaches, and of course his wonderful humor. With that, I thank you so very much for your complete attention, and lucky, fortunate, all of us, to be here tonight for this wonderful opportunity. Enjoy. Thank you. And with that, please welcome Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche.
This is actually my very first time ever coming to the beautiful city of Toronto. A couple of days ago, I was at York University. There we had some exchanges on the topic of meditation. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to visit the Department of Religion at the University of Toronto. While I was there, we engaged in some rather extensive and insightful discussions concerning various cosmological theories. From these diverse and valuable experiences, I have personally found that many of the dedicated teachers and enthusiastic students who are currently present here today are all truly very much concerned about the world around us, humanity, including our inner values and questions about life. Today, our topic is about past lives, or as it's also called, past and present lives. For many people, the concept of past and present lives is just as the professor mentioned earlier. We have never been separated from it, not even for a moment. However, in the bustling crowds of today's big cities, very few people actually care about it. Why is it that people don't pay attention to it? On one hand, I think that whether in the East or the West, the current mainstream culture is not truly focused on deeper inner spiritual values. Most people devote all of their extensive education, their culture, and their dedicated research basically to the external material world. More importantly, what they care about is the economy or other significant major issues in various different areas. There's another important aspect to consider as well. People living in large, bustling cities everywhere are steadily increasing in number. People's minds are often very restless, constantly moving, and can be quite scattered. This includes all kinds of diverse information, which in turn inevitably causes a certain amount of mental distraction. In this current era, it appears that our inner attention and the careful consideration we give to our own personal lives have also been significantly weakened and indeed noticeably diminished. Everyone present here is fully aware of this situation, that people all over the world now, especially during the last century, the human population dramatically doubled. For example, I came into this world in 1962, a pivotal year when the world was undergoing profound demographic shifts. And at that particular point in time, the global human population was approximately 2 billion. But later, around 1963, the highest ever human population growth rate in history seems to have been around 2%. From this truly significant doubling of growth, now the population has reached 7 billion. In the span of nearly a full century, we human beings have, in a manner never before witnessed or experienced throughout history, been growing at such an exceptionally and remarkably high rate. Concurrently, at this very same time, the diverse cultures and the extensive information have also dramatically and extensively exploded, experiencing a rapid and widespread dissemination across the entire world, reaching every corner and continent of the globe. On one hand, this is a very good thing indeed. However, on the other hand, it's also not such a particularly good thing, you see. For a significant number of individuals among us in the modern world, at this very moment in time, we really don't pay attention to, actually, where we came from or where we will ultimately go. I remember a scientist once said something quite profound. He said that a person's birth and eventual death are indeed truly the very same life for all of us. A person's entire birth and the full cycle of death are equally unknown to us. So, I think what he said is truly something many of us deeply need to carefully reflect on in our own lives. As for a person's past or future lives, they really are impossible to measure or predict. Is it really, truly that profound? Actually, it's not that mysterious. In fact, any one of us here today, if we devote some dedicated time and considerable energy to truly invest ourselves in the process and diligently study it, then at that precise moment in time, we can also discover a truly clear and definite answer for ourselves. I don't think that's difficult at all. Everyone here knows that when it comes to the human body, when we come into this world, it can suddenly form and appear in the mother's womb. And when we leave this world, it will simply vanish into nothing. Whether it's a water burial or a cremation, it truly and completely ceases to exist. But what about our consciousness, that inner awareness, what we call the very essence of the soul? Is it exactly the same as the main body of the object? I wonder anyone here has ever truly thought about this question before. If you have seriously and carefully thought about this matter, then what specific conclusion did you ultimately come to? Just recently, I heard some interesting information about a distinguished and renowned Nobel Prize winner who eloquently said in a public address, "If there is truly an afterlife, then what precisely would I become in the end?" When I heard this at the time, I wanted to laugh, but I also had other feelings. Actually, I was born into a religious family. When I was young, I firmly believed that past and future lives exist. Later, when I was in school, I learned a great deal about the philosophical concepts of atheism and materialism. At that time, I really did begin to deeply wonder, does a person truly have a next life? Does a person truly have a past life? It's quite possible that when a person eventually dies, it's just like blowing out a lamp, and it's all gone. It's quite possible. So, for a significant period of time, my overall state of mind was rather ambiguous, or you could certainly say that I was in a profound state of doubt. It wasn't until much later, after I eventually became a monk, that things began to change. That the first thing I thought about was whether Buddhism could truly give me a real and satisfying answer. After that, I extensively went through many intricate Indian and Tibetan theories about past and future lives, quite a considerable lot of them. At the same time, I also referred to numerous reference books from both East and West, ancient and modern, comparing a great many different sources and various materials. At the same time, I debated all day long, debating with many people in our institute who possess rather profound wisdom. We debated constantly, all the time, whether it was in the snowy winter or the rainy summer. After a long period of time, I approached this question through, as you might know, a special form of debate unique to Tibet. This kind of debate is actually very effective. All of your doubts or the arguments you find unreasonable are thrown entirely at your opponent, and you see whether the other side can answer them or not. Alternatively, I would allow other individuals to direct all sorts of intensely aggressive and deeply hurtful remarks directly at me, and then, in response, I would defend myself against their unwarranted accusations and criticisms. Through this method, after a very short period of time, all my lingering doubts completely and utterly disappeared in the end. Subsequently, some profound treatises regarding both past and future lives were meticulously translated into the distinct languages of various other ethnic groups and communities. At the very same time, in many different and varied settings, with people from diverse and numerous backgrounds, I often had wonderful opportunities for all kinds of enriching exchanges and truly mutual learning. Whenever we have occasion to discuss this particular and often profound topic, it is understandable that some individuals might become rather sensitive and quite uncomfortable when contemplating the concept of death, and consequently, they simply do not wish to engage in any conversation about it whatsoever, actively choosing to completely avoid the subject matter. They feel that so-called death should always be approached in a very graceful, calm, relaxed, and genuinely happy state of mind, and that's certainly enough to achieve success. So, while they're still alive, they simply don't want to mention it at all. However, I genuinely believe that this particular viewpoint represents a clear indication of negativity and inherent weakness. This holds true even though our current scientific understanding and technological capabilities have undeniably achieved truly tremendous progress and significant advancements, including medicine, which has also developed to an unprecedented degree in various ways. And in this process, people's pursuit of longevity has been somewhat guaranteed. Indeed, but for all of us who are gathered here today, whether it's people currently now or in the present future, every single person will die, 100%. So what do we do after we die? If there really is a previous life, is it necessary for us to think about and prepare for these things now? Should we be considering and making some preparations for this now? If there is no next life, if nothing exists after a person dies, of course, that would be great. But what if there is? It's definitely worth giving this some serious thought and careful consideration in advance. In fact, I truly believe that by carefully considering it in this particular way, if there genuinely is a next life, it would be incredibly beneficial for us to be thoroughly prepared well ahead of time. Even if in the end there isn't one, if our current actions, morals, and standards are somewhat restrained and carefully considered, then in your entire personal future and ultimate destiny, it actually won't cause any significant harm or lead to profound unhappiness. Today, right here and now, I will make a brief yet comprehensive comparison between the established scientific perspectives and the profound Buddhist perspectives on these very important matters. I'll introduce this to everyone with a bit of contrast. I myself am a Buddhist, but when it comes to seeking the truth, things like religion, ethnicity, and nationality don't matter. No matter who the teacher or speaker is, their identity is not important. What matters most is whether we can find some real knowledge that people universally need to pursue. Some people might think that the origin or destination of consciousness might be very difficult to find if we try to search for it. But actually, it's not that difficult. First, we know for sure that consciousness exists. So how did it come about in the past? We can use wisdom to observe this. The very first moment of our mind arriving in this world, was there a cause and condition for it? If there was no cause, then such a claim wouldn't be reasonable. If something arises without a cause, then we would appear anywhere and any time. But this contradicts the facts of our experience. It's impossible. So, Through our observation, the idea that consciousness can arise without a cause should not stand in this world. If it's impossible for something to arise without a cause, then there must definitely be a cause. Is this cause something permanent and unchanging, or is it something impermanent? If you really think it is permanent, then whether you call it a powerful creator, a supreme being, an almighty God, or some other great deity like Maheshvara, etc., if you truly acknowledge that anything in this world is truly permanent, then something permanent cannot become a cause and effect phenomenon. If it indeed produces an effect, then such a thing cannot be considered permanent. So you can also reflect on this in your daily life. Whether the cause of all humanity or of all things in the world, is it really something permanent? If it is truly permanent, then how could it produce anything at all? If it does produce something, then is the permanent entity before production and the entity after production, are these two the same entity? When you observe in this particular way, it is indeed truly impossible for something that is truly permanent to really produce anything at all. If the cause is impermanent, there are two possibilities for how it gives rise to our consciousness. Either it creates all of humanity in the world at the same time, or it creates us at different times. If it creates us all at the same time, this directly contradicts our own direct perception, because all living beings, including both humans and animals alike, invariably come into existence and develop sequentially rather than appearing all at once. If this process is not instantaneous but unfolds gradually and sequentially, then, concerning its purported or so-called cause, is it created with consciousness or without consciousness? If it is created with consciousness, then for each sentient being, one after another, I want to create this bad person, I want to create this good person, I want to create this person. If it's one by one, we can think, in any religion or any doctrine, there is no such kind of cause. If it is created without consciousness, then the very root of such a cause and condition, up to now, we still cannot find it. Many people might think it's also not created by some other creator. I'm also not saying that today I'm targeting any particular religion or doctrine, or refuting their diverse viewpoints and perspectives. Because in our comprehensive theoretical analysis and examination, whether it's another tradition or our own, we should all conduct a very thorough and highly detailed observation, using wisdom to see whether it can withstand analysis. This is extremely important. If our theory cannot be carried out, is there any particularly reasonable and highly reliable sacred teaching to use as a basis for argumentation? If neither of these exist, neither theory nor sacred teaching, then it means that some viewpoints are still worth further research. Some people might genuinely think it's not truly caused by something else, but rather by an entirely different factor, you see, but rather by our own body, or the brain, or the union of father's sperm and mother's blood, and that such causes and conditions form it, just like some atheistic views nowadays say. It's a kind of genetic information that gradually consciousness suddenly appears. This kind of explanation is even more unreasonable. To thoroughly refute this particular viewpoint, we have a comprehensive line of reasoning to present. That is to say, the mind is inherently a profoundly luminous and radiant entity. It possesses its own fundamental and essential cause, which precedes its existence. In Buddhism, we call this the immediate cause. Mind can only give rise to mind. It is impossible for it to arise from other bodies or material things. The body can only serve as an external condition, an auxiliary factor. Just like a seed in the world, it has its own immediate cause. External sunlight and moisture can only serve as external conditions for it, just the same. Regarding this significant issue, the Indian scholar Dharmakirti provides a wealth of persuasive evidence in his various treatises. However, for now, I won't cite those treatises. I'll just mention a very famous scientist instead. In 1963, he notably won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. His name is John Eccles, and here is his profound reasoning. He dedicated his entire life to this endeavor. He conducted extensive and comprehensive research into the intricate relationship between our consciousness and the complex workings of the brain. Throughout the course of his extensive research, he authored and published numerous influential books. I suggest that you should also take a closer look at them. One significant work is entitled The Self Controls Its Brain, and other notable publications include The Self and Its Brain, Facing Reality, and so on. These are all highly persuasive works. So what does he mean? He means that just as we operate a computer, in reality, consciousness controls our brain. And apart from our body and brain and the material world, there is also a consciousness that truly exists independently itself. It does not cease to exist just because the body is lost. So this kind of viewpoint has also been examined and argued by the modern scientific community. Perhaps some people may wonder if such an astonishing discovery is really true. Then why is it that not everyone in the world today believes in the profound existence of past and future lives? There is a well-known saying that truth is often held in the hands of a select few. Just like for well over 1,000 years in recorded human history, the heliocentric theory was initially proposed, but people never truly accepted it. And at that particular time, they even seriously thought that if there were indeed people living on the underside of the earth, why wouldn't they fall off? So, those individuals who bravely advocated for the revolutionary heliocentric theory were often subjected to various severe forms of punishment and persecution. I distinctly remember there was a profoundly influential and revered great Buddhist master from Tibet, Padmasambhava. When he arrived in Tibet, the Tibetan king at the time, Trisong Detsen, had a daughter named Pematse, who passed away and entered parinirvana. The king was heartbroken at the time. He said, "My dear princess, my truly precious jewel has left this world forever. What should I do? I am in so much pain." At that particular time, Padmasambhava wisely said, "Death inevitably comes to every single person, but it is not the end of life. In fact, death will come to you, and I will not be an exception either. But we must truly understand and deeply comprehend that although her physical body will inevitably perish and gradually decay over time, her essential consciousness, her very essence, will always, without exception, continue to exist and persist eternally. Once she realizes the true nature of life, she will truly transcend the 6 realms of endless samsara. This, indeed, is the profound true meaning of life." I truly think his insightful words are also profoundly worth reflecting upon for everyone present here. Sometimes, in a person's entire destiny, a single, impactful sentence from a wise teacher, or even just one crucial lesson, may profoundly influence your entire life's journey, or even many subsequent lifetimes to come. This can indeed have a truly profound impact and provide a great deal of inspiration. Regarding the eternal existence of life, there are also some notable scientists who believe in this concept, one of whom is indeed named Robert Lanza. Perhaps you have heard of him. He is an American biologist. He has won many awards. Of course, I'm not particularly impressed by the awards he's received, because in this day and age, anyone can win some kind of award. But what's most important are some of the treatises he has written. One of the prominent theories he discusses is called Biocentrism. Regarding the profound and eternal existence of human life, he meticulously put forward 5 compelling reasons to explain this intricate phenomenon. When I carefully read some of his profound statements and detailed explanations, they are quite similar to the arguments for the eternity of life that I mentioned earlier. They are quite similar. For example, among his 5 reasons, there is a statement that says, "Our human life, in its essence, does not simply disappear with the changes of the physical body." He gave an example. Back then, the renowned physicist Albert Einstein had a very close friend named Besso. When Besso unfortunately passed away, Einstein, reflecting on their deep connection, said, he expressed, "His departure doesn't truly matter to me personally. In this strange world of ours, this kind of phenomenon is very, very real to us indeed." Because we have long understood that the distinctions between future, past, and present are all just illusions and delusions. So in this way, he explained that our true life profoundly transcends the conventional boundaries of both time and space, extending far beyond what we can currently perceive or even begin to imagine. In actual fact, life itself does not truly conclude or cease with the mere demise of our temporary physical body. For us, this is good news, because many people are afraid of death, thinking that after death there is nothing left. So they desperately try to make money. I've heard that Americans don't like to save money. I'm not sure about Canadians, but in China, people save money like crazy. As a result, when they die, they haven't spent all their money. Their bodies are used up, but the money isn't, which is a pity and very sad. Many people leave their money in the bank. They don't know the password, nor do they know where the bank card is. So after they die, The bank is very happy. Actually, the eternity of life is very real. There is a lot of evidence for us. Although none of us can really remember it, some people wonder if past lives exist. Why can't I remember them? There are certain boundaries to this. It's like how there is still a lot of dark matter in our world, but people don't necessarily discover it. For example, if there were a treasure under my house, I might not necessarily find it. It's the same with our minds. Some things I can discover and know about, while others I simply cannot fully know. There are also many hidden potentials and inherent skills within our minds, like developing musical or artistic abilities in the future, for example, or cultivating intelligence in math, science, and chemistry. But for many people, to varying degrees, sometimes we may not necessarily discover them. So when it truly comes to the subconscious mind, we really shouldn't think that just because we simply can't remember something at all, that what we don't know now doesn't exist. This is a very superficial way of thinking. In the Buddhist scriptures, it is clearly said that after a person enters the womb, there is a certain kind of obstruction that occurs. It's like when our car goes into an underground garage, a lot of information can no longer be transmitted. Just like that. Many memories from the past, some people, a few individuals, are able to recall them, especially when you are a very young child. You might be able to vividly remember those moments. There are such cases, even among those with no religious beliefs, across different ethnicities, different religions, even from all directions. East, west, south, and north. From ancient times to the present, there have been a great many people. For example, I myself have also come into contact with many people. If we refuse to acknowledge this, it may be impossible to refute each and every one of these cases. If you want to overturn reality, such a person with extraordinary ability, I truly think that it would be especially difficult to actually find. If you have the chance, you can look into it yourself. Some of the fundamental principles in Buddhism regarding the previous stages of life are quite profound. And even the intricate methods for the successful continuation of many lifetimes are also clearly and thoroughly explained. Including aspects of our current state of mind, there are indeed further detailed analyses available. More importantly, regarding the future, for example, when we humans die, in reality, consciousness is not hindered by the body. When my body is left behind at any moment, it is very possible to become an animal or a human being in another place. Because our consciousness is not obstructed by other material things, it could go to heaven, or it could descend into hell, or it could continue to transmigrate in various other forms of life within this very world. I think that some other religions also acknowledge the profound existence of both heaven and hell. However, I have also specifically asked some religious followers after entering heaven, do you stay there forever? Do you stay in hell forever? Some of them say that ordinary people really shouldn't speculate about this particular topic, that this is not within your realm of understanding. Of course, on one hand, we also believe this is the case, but on the other hand, I also think that truly, according to Buddhist views, even if you go to heaven or descend into hell, after your good karma is exhausted, it is very likely that you will continue to reincarnate. After falling into hell, it is very likely that you will continue to suffer the pains of hell, or you may become liberated and obtain a human body or rebirth as a result, and then pursue liberation. This is possible through this process. I think that when other religions and our religion study together, we can learn from each other's respective strengths and make up for our weaknesses. There should absolutely be this kind of open and constructive exchange and mutual discussion among all relevant parties. Comprehensive and in-depth research specifically focused on the multifaceted aspects of human life may prove to be far more convincing and impactful in this particular regard. In short, the entirety of our human life should continue unwavering without interruption until we attain complete liberation. This is indeed very definite and absolutely certain. I sincerely hope that many truly wise people, including dedicated teachers and diligent students, should sometimes wisely use all of their considerable wisdom to explore the complex and intricate mysteries of the human mind and consciousness. At such times, this is very necessary. Now, some Buddhists I know in theory, Buddhism has extremely rich teachings. As Buddhists, we should 100% have very firm faith in the existence of past and future lives. However, some Buddhists, it must be said, are very superficial in their understanding. They also do not think very seriously or use truly relevant reasoning to demonstrate this. When others then ask them, are there really past and future lives themselves? They say there are, but when asked how, they themselves can't explain clearly. It's all vague and unclear. Every day they practice virtue and recite the Buddha's name, but they themselves do not have deep conviction. This kind of approach is actually unscientific. The reasoning behind the existence of past and future lives, in my opinion, is not a unique viewpoint of Buddhism. It should be clearly said that it is a fundamental value held by every single human being, a profound way of existence for everyone. Many people simply haven't fully discovered it yet. So this particular kind of thinking does not need to be packaged or confined by any other religion or belief system. Everyone, as an individual, should discover it for themselves. If you genuinely think this is entirely unreasonable, then you should logically refute and decisively overturn it with compelling solid reasons. This is also actually fully acknowledged by Buddhism. Buddhist thought is very open-minded. So right now, the most crucial thing for us is not your religion or my religion, whether you have faith or not. That's not what's important. The most important thing is the basic values of humanity. If they exist, and so many of us have truly not yet discovered them, indeed, that is a truly real loss for humanity. If these things do not truly exist and we blindly and unequivocally believe that they do, then that, in itself, is also a very blind and misguided pursuit undertaken by people. So in this particular situation, we should keep a clear mind and use sharp wisdom to explore. In the end, we should arrive at astonishing results. No matter what, we need to establish a correct outlook on life. Once we just have the right outlook on life, each of us is actually very much the same. No one wants to suffer. Everyone wants to pursue happiness. So we believe that the cause of pursuing happiness is doing good deeds, and we gain true happiness by consistently doing good deeds. We experience profound suffering by deliberately doing evil. This is a truly fundamental human value. Once we have the right outlook on life and noble, virtuous values, I truly believe that our collective worldview should become truly wonderful. So whether it's your personal dwelling, your cherished home, or our magnificent planet Earth, the entire vast and intricate environment in which we all collectively live, with these two crucial conditions firmly in place, I truly believe this world will appear the most wonderful and beautiful.
다 대란다나 오빠만 보여 요사래 대네 나체는 박수시네 대네 참말라 삼바 추신 접이 몬단다 지대 자시대 로지긴